In this extra episode of All About Hyrule Warriors, we will be examining the two bonus giant characters of the game, Beast Ganon and the giant Cucco. While neither of these characters does have a lot of mechanical complexity, there is actually more to both of them than meets the eye. Let's get started with Beast Ganon, the absolute largest controllable character in the game, and see what he can do. Beast Ganon has a standard attack string consisting of 3 attacks. He will swipe left, swipe right, and finish with a double pound in front of him. Typically, the goal of the Beast Ganon missions will have him trying to rack up a certain amount of kills or defeat certain boss enemies. These 3 attacks are best used for the latter, and are quick and accurate enough to quickly smack them around with ease. When it comes for trying to kill as many mobs as possible in as short a time as you can, Beast Ganon's heavy attack and combos can do it much better. When pressing heavy attack, Ganon will unleash 4 lines of dark magic in a fan shape. When pressed a second time, he will fire off 5 more, completing the fan shape and destroying any lesser enemies that are caught in this massive hitbox. Simply by running Ganon in front of a large group and unleashing these attacks, he can take care of massive groups with just 2 button presses. Beast Ganon technically has 2 heavy attack combos to use, and the first combo actually is just him adding in his heavy attack combo very quickly after his first swipe. Unfortunately, he can only do the first part of the heavy attack without the extra 5 rows in the second part that really make it worth it. And due to the slow windup of this attack, it isn't really preferable to just finishing off your standard attack string most times. Beast Ganon's second and last combo works similar to his first, where he will quickly execute his heavy attack. But with this combo, he actually is able to add in the second part and finish off the magic attack, meaning this is actually worth throwing in from time to time if you want to cover an area after already starting a standard attack string. Beast Ganon has a few extra attacks on top of these, and his first one is done by hitting ZL, which has him perform his own special spin attack. This move doesn't really cover a large area, but it is able to stun and knock back enemies such as bosses. Its best use is when you are absolutely shoulder to shoulder with multiple bosses, but in reality it really isn't that necessary, because in those situations he actually has a better move to save him rather than this. Ganon's second extra attack is done by hitting up on the directional pad, which has him steady himself for a moment before bull rushing forward. This blows right through your enemies and knocks back captains and bosses an extremely long way. Considering how much damage you can take if you get surrounded by these enemies, this extra attack is almost a necessary zoning tool for some of the more difficult battles. Sometimes when defeating certain bosses, they will drop a power-up for Beast Ganon, which will allow him to do a special attack by hitting the Use Item button, ZR. After you have collected more than one of these, you are able to switch between them freely for the rest of the battle by hitting the normal swap weapon button or using the shortcut on the touchpad. And each boss has their own particular power-up which they're weak to. For the record, King Dodongo is weak to Gohma's power, Gohma is weak to Manhandla's power, Manhandla is weak to Argorak's power, and Argorak is weak to King Dodongo's power. Just like Pokemon. A single use of the right ability is all it takes to make their weak point gauge appear, so this is your chance to finally humiliate these bosses and abuse the hell out of this. With the King Dodongo power-up, Beast Ganon will launch off a fireball in a long line ahead of him. With a Manhandla power-up, he will perform the signature Bullet Storm attack, doing a huge amount of damage in a short and wide area in front of him. With the Gohma power-up, Beast Ganon will quickly throw out a powerful plasma ball just in front of him, which explodes with a good area of effect. With the Argorak Dragon power-up, Ganon will float slowly in the air before unleashing a short flamethrower burst in front of him. Between all of these, I tend to prefer the King Dodongo power, as it gives Beast Ganon some much appreciated forward range, allowing you to knock over enemies ahead of you and leave them stunned before you rush on top of them for some close range damage. This is a really good way to avoid the chip damage that you would normally take when trying to get this close. Finishing off Beast Ganon's abilities is his Force Special attack, which has him pounding the ground and sending off a massive circular shockwave around him. This attack is good for adding in damage when you have a full health bar and don't mind spending some special charge, but its actual best use is to get you out of very dangerous situations extremely quickly. Beast Ganon, despite how he looks, is totally a glass cannon, and unless you have grinded and over-leveled him for the mission that you're on, it's easy to go down very suddenly as you take only a few boss attacks at once. If you realize that you have made a huge positioning mistake and your blunder is about to cost you your life or most of your health, you can use your Force Special attack like a panic button to become suddenly invincible heal, have a chance to kill weakened enemies around you, and throw everybody else who is still a threat quite a ways away from you, and give yourself another chance to win. There's actually a surprising amount of complexity to Beast Ganon's full moveset, and by word count alone, he has actually been more complicated to explain than almost 80% of the rest of the cast of the game. Believe me, I should know, I've made guides for every single one of them. So, how am I going to be able to fit a whole other character in this video? Well, that's quite simple because the giant Cucco is just a big chicken. He doesn't have a lot of complicated mechanics, he's literally just a joke character who was thrown in for a bit of an extra challenge for the truly masochistic. For what it's worth, the giant Cucco's standard attack string consists of just 2 attacks. He pecks and then he pecks again. That's it. He is able to repeat this again and again and again, making this basically an endless series of hits to be used as long as you remain safe while doing it. In the case that you are not safe, you can use the giant Cucco's only other regular attack, which is his heavy attack. When pressed, it will make him do a quick flutter and bird kick forward. This doesn't really look like much, but it is apparently enough to knock anything you want on its ass, which stuns it for a decent duration. The general flow of combat with this character is to peck and peck and peck, and if your foe is about to get ready and hit you back, knock them over with a kick and keep on pecking. Finishing off the giant Cucco's kit is his force special attack, which has it quickly call in a pack of lesser Cuccos to swarm your foes in front of you. Like Beast Ganon, the giant Cucco is easily finished off by a quick series of attacks, which means his force special attack is best saved as a panic button to get out of bad situations. And now, with these 2 bonus characters covered, it's time to actually finish off the All About series for Hyrule Warriors.
Flattering child, you shall know me. See why in shadow I hide. Look at your face in the mirror. I am